Today I'm here with Coach Will Compton. Thanks for coming on, Coach.
I appreciate you having me.
Coach Compton is the head football coach at Hutto High School, which is down near Austin, Texas. To kick things off, can you just share with the audience a little bit about your background?
Absolutely. This is just finished up my 21st year of coaching. This is my second year at Hutto High School. Truly enjoy it. For those of you that don't know, the Hutto Hippos, we're the only hippo in the nation. And so we take a lot of pride in that, only hippo mascot in the nation. And so it's kind of one of those local sources of pride. I got into coaching, my dad was a coach. And so seeing, the impact that he made on the community, seeing the impact that he made on, individuals' lives growing up, I knew that that was something that I wanted to do. So went to college at Angelo State University here in Texas, Division II school, and, played football there for a couple of years. And, that path, football ended me a lot before I was done for wanting to play. But it's that's where my passion was. I knew that's where I wanted to go, and so definitely entered the profession and kind of followed the coaching tree and moving up and became an offensive coordinator. Started off in the junior high, right outside of Houston. Then became a varsity coach to offensive coordinator. Was blessed to coach some really good teams. One of you said you're from Philadelphia. One of the Philadelphia favorites, Greg Ward Jr. was my quarterback at John Tyler.
Oh, really cool.
Which love that guy. And so, it was being able to kind of move up that path and follow, work for some great guys. Was blessed to get a head coaching job in Bryan, Texas. Was a head coach for 3 years. Was disastrous. I wasn't very good by any means. I thought I was ready to be a head coach, and we did a lot of good things. A lot of things changed, except for some of the things on the scoreboard. Went back to Conroe Oak Ridge with the guy that I'd worked with before, and was able to kind of reestablish myself again as an offensive coordinator. Came to the Austin area, opened up a brand new school. Really kind of took that off offensively. And then this school opened up. My son was about to be a junior. And, he came to me and said, Dad, about to be a junior. It'd be really awesome if you were the head coach for the last 2 years. Hutto opened up and, kind of had some ends and was able to, get the job. And so I was able to coach him his last 2 years as the head coach. Was blessed to have a guy named Will Hammond as my quarterback, who's going to Texas Tech. And then this year had a breakout year with a guy named Alex Green at receiver, who finished up number 2 nationally for yards. And so, been able to coach some great guys, but also, I've been surrounded by great coaches and mentors along the way, which has really helped me grow.
Definitely appreciate the community of coaches out there that, build people up. And that's what I feel like it's all about. It's not only building up your players, but building up those around you. So in that same light, Coach, could you just share with the audience, like if you had to go back to 20 years ago when you were just getting started, what would be some advice you would give yourself?
Man, that's that's a great question. Is that 20 years ago when I first started, I thought I could walk in the doors and I was varsity ready. That was my mindset. Is that I had been around football. I'd been around my dad, who had been a varsity coach, who had been a coordinator, been a head coach. I had played college ball. I thought that walking in the front door, I was varsity ready to be a varsity coach, and nothing was further from the truth. I needed to sit in those meetings, and I needed to listen to some of those veteran coaches, even though may not see eye to eye with them at all times and in the way that they did things. But seeing now, the way that they develop relationships with some of those kids was huge. And that the way that they dealt with some of the issues, because it's not all, coaching is not all X's and O's. X's and O's, that's the easy thing to teach. It's easy to teach somebody how to run shallow or how to run white cross and those type of things. I mean, we can get on the board right now and I can teach you how to do those in 10 minutes and how to do it for the rest of your life. And that's easy. How to handle a parent situation with a kid when things aren't going right, when you're 23, 24 years old, that's a completely different situation altogether. And, going back 20 years ago, stepping back and really listening to, what those guys are saying and how to handle those situations and how to handle myself in those situations is probably something that I probably could have done a lot better job of that would have probably helped me in many of those situations, in those early years.
Yeah, and most of that stuff from what I've heard comes from experience. And unless you have a coach like yourself who's kind of talking to the audience now, it's tough to actually know if you're not doing something right in the real time. What would be like some specific examples of like things that you would suggest a coach does if they're just getting started in a career now?
I think, getting into career now, especially here, and you say you had a lot of Texas followers. I think the number one thing, here in Texas, is to get certified. To get certified in a teaching field outside of PE. We're getting into the profession to where, yes, we want to coach. That's what we want to do, but we're teachers as well, and that's where 80% of your salary is going to come from. Everything else is a stipend for us here. We have to be full-time teachers, and then we get to coach, as a bonus. And so, getting a degree and getting certified in something that you're going to be able to carry from a school to school, or be able to help out in the classroom, and then be present in the school building. I think that's something that's often overlooked. We get a coaching position, and that's what we want to do, and that's where our passion is, and that's where our love is. But if we're not taking care of that in the classroom stuff, we'll get fired a whole lot quicker there than the stuff that we really love, because we're really going to take care of that out there. But like one of my mentors told me, if you're great in the classroom, you're going to be great on the field, because teaching is teaching, and teaching on the field and teaching in the classroom is the exact same thing. I think that, as a young coach coming in, doing that. I also think, and this is something that I'm very, very passionate about, and I talk to a lot of people about, is reading. That's something I didn't start doing until I went back to school to get my master's. I didn't read a book. Everything I wanted to read was X's and O's based. It had nothing to do with leadership. And I think that the earlier that you start getting onto, your leadership books, your Rod Olsons, your John Gordons, your Joshua Metcalfs and things like that, whatever your fancy is with those. I think the earlier that you start getting into your leadership books, to try to find what your leadership style is, and how do you grow that, and how do you grow that inside of inside of your program that you're a part of, whether you're a seventh grade coach or whether you're a varsity coach. How do you grow that? I think that's just it's gonna help propel your career into who you want to be and who you are as a man, how you are as a father, how you are as a husband, all together.
Yeah, not only that, but those skills, when once you develop them to the best that they can be, you're not only going to be propelling yourself, but you're also going to be like influencing your kids to a better extent. And that's something that I think goes for really anything in life. Like as a player, going back to I think you said you played D2 ball. Like when I was in college, I played Division 3 at Gettysburg College, and like a lot of the lessons that I learned as a player, they've applied for my life post graduation. So I'm sure you can attest to that too.
Oh, absolutely. There was we did a book study this year with we have our leadership council. We don't have really team captains. We have a leadership council, kind of elected by the players and by our coaches. And so Alex Green was one of those guys that was on that. So Alex had a lot of offers that came in early. Then they ended up being non-committal, offers. The way that the portal's going and recruiting is all together. Well, this spring, the book that we read was Joshua Metcalf's Chop Wood, Carry Water, and that was our leadership book. And so, kind of as the offers started going away, me and him, we started having some one-on-one conversations, and he was like, "Coach, I just gotta put my head down. I got to chop wood, carry water every morning. I gotta go out there and I get better." Well, and that became his like kind of his mantra for the whole season, is that he wasn't going to worry about recruiting. He wasn't going to worry about the hype, the offers, the who's getting this and who's getting that. He was just going to wake up every morning and he was going to fall in love with the process of becoming great. through that, he puts up a 2,056-yard season for his senior year. And I'm talking like, and then all of a sudden, here comes all the offers and coming back in and everything else. And you look down and he's number 2 in the nation.
Wow.
And it's just like one of those things. And so, and he took a lot of pride in it because now I went back to something that he learned through a book that I had read 4 years ago that I thought would be great for this group of seniors who weren't getting the offers and weren't getting the looks that they thought they were needing. And I was just like, man, this is something that I've read that I think is going to apply for this group because they don't need to worry about, being the samurai archer right now. They just need to worry about falling in love with the process of becoming great. And, to see it come to fruition right there was, it was something special for me. And, it was definitely something special for me and Alex, not just because of, this, but just something, it's going to link us, for years to come.
Yeah, and I don't think you could have said it better. Just falling in love with the process is really what gets to somebody to be great. And everybody can focus on the outcome, but it's never about that. The process and doing things correctly, it's going to get you to that point, but it's not something that you can necessarily like focus on as you're doing stuff and going about daily activities. So that's definitely something that I've learned through my years and, appreciate you sharing.
Absolutely. I mean, it's we all want the state championships. We all want the end results and things like that. But it's some of those little details. It's the hours of watching film. It's breaking it down. It's going back and looking at some things that something that's been big for me that it's tough as a coach, as a position coach or as a coordinator, as a head coach, is going back on internal reflection and looking at things that you could have done better. And that's the process of how you become better instead of just pointing fingers or saying that, oh, this guy could have done it better, that guy could have done better, but really looking at okay, what could I have done better in my planning on Monday's practice in that first 5 minutes of Indy to get it better for Friday night on this drill that applied to this certain play that we didn't execute. And
Yeah.
just really looking at that.
Yeah, and if you think about it too, like drawing it back to like playing days for the guys that have played, like when you record practice, it's the same idea. You're evaluating yourself on games and in practice, and in the same way, when you self-reflect as a coach, you should bring that same mentality as like, hey, maybe I did something well, but at the same time, these are my areas for improvement. And it's like keeping track of that information, I think is invaluable.
Absolutely. I think that's huge. We went up to SMU a couple of years ago, and they talked a lot about. It was Chad Morris when he was there. He talked about having your daily win and making sure that each and every day that you go out there, you make sure that you know what your win is that day. You can't have 18 things that you got to get better at that day. You got to have what your daily win is. And my daily win may not be the same as what your daily win is, but as long as you know what your win is and I know what my win is, and the coach knows what the focus is for each one of those players, and they're pushing them towards their daily win, and then that's how collectively we're going to get better that day.
Yes, sir. Definitely agree there. So appreciate you sharing there. Any last words you want to share with the audience today, Coach?
No, I mean, I just appreciate you bringing me on, and I think we're a part of a great profession that truly affects millions of kids out there. And I think that recruiting right now is crazy, and we need to be there for the kids because they're the ones that have the toughest time with it right now. They have a tough time processing the transfer portals the high school kids do, of understanding it, and just being there for them and getting them to understand that it's not going to happen the same way it happened 5, 10 years ago, in their process, and understanding that, what is the goal of the recruiting process? The goal is to, yes, extend your playing career, but also to get that education. And, whether that is NAIA, D3, D2, or if they're blessed enough to be a Division I type player. And so I think the more we can educate our kids on, what is actually the goal of playing college football, I think the better off our kids are going to be.
Yeah, definitely agree. And just one last point too with the Division 2, Division 3 thing. Just drawing back from my experiences when I was getting recruited, I was one of the classic guys who wanted to go and play Division 1 football, and the reality was I'm a 5'10" defensive lineman, so wasn't quite fast enough to play at that Division 1 level. And what ended up happening for me was I went to Gettysburg College, played Division 3 ball, and had the best possible experience for me. And I got a great education. So, for any athletes out there watching too, make sure, like Coach was saying, just take that into account. Is you have to make sure you go to the right scenario, not just football wise.
Nope, absolutely, because you never know when that football is going to end, and you want to make sure that you're there for the right reasons. So,
For sure.
again, we want to make sure that you're getting education or trade or whatever it may be. And so, life's gonna keep coming at you.